In the light of the eye is the all-knowingness of God. And if thine eye be single as the third eye, thy whole body shall be filled with light. And what shall I do with chelas who are filled with light? Why, I shall send you to the four corners of the earth. I shall send you to this hemisphere. I shall send you to South America, where you might impart that light, for you have raised up the sacred fire, but most of all, you have guarded the flame of harmony. Harmony in your members within the self is a prerequisite for your application to any ascended master for discipleship. Harmony, beloved, enables you to hold a flame and keep it, to seal within you the light garnered and not squander it because someone here or there has poked you and therefore you have responded and therefore you have lost the light that you gained in the giving of your dynamic decrees. Yes, I am Saint Germain, and this is my messenger. I have sent her to you, and she has come gladly, joyously, to give you gifts from my heart, beginning with the understanding of ages past and ages into the future, and then the understanding of invoking the violet flame. Soon you shall become proficient in invoking all of the flames of the 7 rays, and you will come to an understanding of how to balance your threefold flame, how to balance love and wisdom and power, so that this combination does form a trinity, and in that trinity you can find balance in all of your chakras and in your organs and in your 4 lower bodies. Your etheric body is the body of the heaven world. It is a permanent body of light that you wear. In the course of your evolution on earth, you have misused the light of the etheric body. Therefore, it is not pristine in its purity, but it shall become so as you daily invoke the violet flame for the transmutation of all misqualified substance and energy. You have a mental body that can contain the mind of God and the mind of Christ. You have a desire body, and that desire body, if you will understand my word, means deity is siring. Deity is giving birth to you in the desire body, and as you raise up the spiral of desire, you realize that as you climb that Jacob's ladder from the base of the spine to the crown chakra, your desires are transformed into the desiring of the things of God and the light of God, and the newness and joy you have of beginning to weave your deathless solar body in preparation for your ascent to God, even in this life, if you will make it so. I then would speak to you of the portents discussed. I would speak to you personally, for I count you as my own. As I have said again and again on this tour, I have known you for eons. I have prepared you. Century after century, I have called you to this continent. See how many nations have their representatives here in South America. It is a melting pot of those of many diverse genes who will bring together the right combination for the foundation of the coming of the 7th root race. We look forward to that, beloved, but we are not in a hurry, for we desire to see the Christed ones maintain that solid harmony. A fiat that I have given my chelas is, I shall not be moved. This is a wonderful fiat. If someone becomes upset and angry or argumentative, if you are dealing with problems at every hand, you say within your own being, I shall not be moved. And then when chaos is all around you, seal your lips, for once you begin to engage in whatever the fray is, then you may well lose your harmony and be moved from the seat of your own holy Christ self. There are many keys to mastery, beloved, but I would invite you in the name of the 7 Chohans to attend our yearly retreat in Montana. During the first 11 days, you will hear a number of dictations daily. You will be taught the acceleration of decrees, and all of this you will have through simultaneous translation in Spanish and Portuguese. Come, beloved, for those 11 days, or come for the 11 days plus 2 months. There you will know an intensive day by day of what the path is and what precisely you can do for your relationships, your marriage, your children, your neighborhood, your city, and this nation. We are responsible, beloved, for our earth, each one of us. We are responsible for the pollution. We are responsible when we give the violet flame and earn good karma. This goes down then in our book of life. Every good deed that is done accelerates your ascent to God. First, you must make your peace with your holy Christ self. The soul must rise and put on that immutable self, for without being immutable, the soul is vulnerable. So the messenger has told you, and so I reinforce it. You are my own. I draw you to my heart. My heart is one with a messenger. It is my love with hers that you feel when you come near her. Recognize this, beloved. I am pouring my love through her to you, that you might have the quickening and the awakening. And I assure you that this messenger loves each and every one of you with all of her heart. And if she could be in the presence of millions and hundreds of millions of souls, she would still love each one with all of the love of her heart. I ask you to love all people and forgive and forgive and forgive, beloved. Give the teachings, give the understanding, open the door of enlightenment to all. What you have received here, take it, go forth, multiply it, give it to those who have the receptive ear. I tell you, beloved, each one of you counts in the puzzle that is forming the picture of what shall come to be in South America. Each nation has its role to play. You may study the nations and consider in your heart what each one has its greatest fort, the greatest amount of attainment, the greatest amount of diligence in a certain area. See how this all combines to bring together the cultures of the world and of the peoples who have been drawn to settle here. This is an extraordinary event that has taken place over the centuries until those of every nation are acknowledged and are here. Think what it is, beloved, to have strains from the causal bodies of so many peoples, some who have come as benign beings from other planets, some who have been here for ages. When you put this together in the melting pot of the world, then you come up with those strains of genes whereby those of the 7th root race may have those genes, may have those qualities, because they will be in the parents and the life streams who embody through them. Now it is time to tell you, beloved, that the hours and the days are moving swiftly. This is not a cause that we can look at today and then put aside tomorrow and take up in a few months as we would lay aside our embroidery or our knitting. No, beloved, you have heard the astrology of the hour. You know that cycles are turning quickly. And even if you never heard of astrology, all you have to do is look around you and say, this world may come crashing down before we know it. Why is it so, beloved? It is because God is determined not to see the youth of the world go down through drugs and the destruction of their own brains, their own central nervous system by these drugs. It is a challenge of epic proportions. I ask you to give the calls the messenger has taught you, calls from Archangel Michael, calls for the binding of the fallen angels, for their hour is indeed come. I ask you to see what you can set aside in your lives, for are not our lives filled already with responsibilities? Indeed they are. Assess priorities then. Make a list when you go home this night. See what is absolutely vital to securing the spiritual victory of your soul and the souls of your children and your families and your nations. Then say, what can I do without? What can I set aside? How can I create time so that I can give the violet flame that will save my household? If it is a priority in your heart to bring in a golden age of Aquarius in South America, if it has become your priority today, as the messenger has explained to you, to bring in the souls of the seventh root race, then I say, please make room for them. Consider balancing your karma and accelerating it. Perhaps resigning from certain clubs and organizations so that you will have the time to give me, Saint Germain, what I need, the violet flame for the consuming of these negative portents of world war and cataclysm. There is not an angel in heaven, there is not a solar lord that would desire to see this cataclysm. But beloved ones, such is the state of the karma of this planet. And there is no point for the karmic board or other cosmic councils to give more dispensations of light and more dispensations of light to the earth, for all that the people will do is to squander the light and eat and drink and be merry and start all over again that old routine of the sensuality of the flesh that you have been involved in for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. This is your hour, beloved. I ask you to play your role. I ask you to define what is important. What will you have accomplished when you meet me at the portals of heaven at the conclusion of this life? I pray it will have been the laying of the foundations, sure and strong, that when these little precious feet come down from heaven, these new souls of Aquarius, they will have a place to press their feet into the earth and find it solid, and find your minds solid and united, that this is the reason for the new age. It is not for psychic intensity. It is not for getting into this and that momentum of the pride that you have, that many have, beloved, the pride of self, to put all that away, to efface the self, to enter in to the legions of the violet flame. This is what we call for. This is what we ask you to do. Take this life, beloved, for I am sponsoring you. I am sponsoring you to help me with these new age children and with the conditions we are concerned about in earth changes. I ask you, beloved, and I tell you that there is not a soul here who has not lived many, many, many times, often in fruitless endeavor and wasted time, accomplishing nothing but incurring karma. Now let all of this be turned around. Let it be cast into the sacred fire. Let those records be gone. I decree it. I call to my legions to assist you in this transmutation, but only you can say the word. You have been empowered this day through the messenger's teaching. I empower you to use my flame, and I ask you to call to Zadkiel and Holy Amethyst and the Holy Spirit. I ask you to call to Arcturus and Victoria. These are the beings who occupy themselves at the level of Elohim. Elohim is the plural noun for God. Elohim in soul, the entire cosmos. It is beings such as these who assist you. Therefore, see how paltry a thing it is to engage oneself in the lower levels of psychicism. I tell you, it will take you nowhere, and it will steal you from your deathless solar body. It will consume that deathless solar body until you have nothing, not a robe to wear when you stand before your God. I say, let this lifetime count, beloved, for this lifetime and your service in it can allow you to balance mountains of karma. Why is this so? It is because I, Saint Germain, have sponsored you, but not only this. It is so because Every gift you give me of violet flame, every service you render is so important to this new age that those works that you perform in dedication to God are multiplied many times over. And so you see, as that work and service you give is multiplied, then you have a multiplication of energy whereby you are balancing karma. When you have balanced that 51%, you will feel as though you were angels moving through the skies, having so much less burden upon you. This is your goal, beloved. Think of all the things you have done in all centuries. Lay them aside. Dedicate this one life to me, and I, Saint Germain, will stand before the lords of karma at the conclusion of your life and plead for your ascension. This is my statement to you, beloved. I give it to you because I want you to succeed. I want you to have your victory, and I want you to balance your karma. Know this, beloved, that I would see you have that victory. Therefore, please love me as much as I love you. Love me and the victory that I must have for all the hosts of heaven. And go to work, roll up your sleeves, and get busy. My precious ones, I would tell you that I am called to a number of places in the world this day where I must be present, for there are many things happening that are not good and that are not positive. I seal you then in my heart and in the violet flame. May you seize what you have been given and run with it to the hour of your fulfillment. I am your Saint Germain, your brother, your mentor of the spirit, and your defender before all the hosts of darkness. I, Saint Germain, bow to the light within you. Music for Gabriel.